Have you ever stood in the produce aisle, looking at a bright, colorful pile of vegetables, and thought to yourself, they're all healthy, right? We grow up being told to eat our veggies, and for the most part, that's great advice. But what if I told you that not all vegetables are as innocent as they seem, especially as we get older? Now, I know that sounds surprising. Vegetables have always had a gold star next to their name. But here's the truth. After 60, our bodies change. Our digestion slows down, our immune system weakens a bit, and the way we process certain nutrients, and even toxins, can shift. That means some vegetables that might have been fine in our 30s or 40s could actually cause more harm than good today. In this video, we're going to talk about a few common vegetables that could be sneaking into your diet and quietly working against your health goals. And no, this isn't about swearing off all your favorites. It's about being informed, so you can make small changes that have a big impact on how you feel every day. Let's get into it, starting with a vegetable that might be on your plate more often than you think. Let's talk about raw cruciferous vegetables, like broccoli, cauliflower, and cabbage. Now, don't get me wrong. These veggies can be nutritional powerhouses. They're packed with fiber, antioxidants, and compounds that support detoxification. But when eaten raw, especially in large amounts, they can interfere with your thyroid function. This is especially important if you've ever dealt with thyroid issues, or if you feel tired, cold, or foggy more than usual. These vegetables contain natural substances called goitrogens, which can slow down the thyroid, your body's energy regulator. That doesn't mean you have to stop eating broccoli entirely. But if you're tossing raw cauliflower into your salads every day, or blending kale into your smoothies without cooking it first, it might be time to rethink that habit. Cooking these vegetables, even just lightly steaming, helps break down the goitrogens and makes them much easier on your thyroid and your digestion. And digestion is key at this age. If you've ever felt bloated or gassy after eating a big bowl of raw veggies, you're not alone. Our gut slows down as we age, and that means fiber-heavy, tough vegetables can lead to discomfort if not prepared properly. A simple switch, like roasting your veggies instead of eating them raw, can make a huge difference in how you feel afterward. Now, speaking of digestion, let's move on to another sneaky vegetable, corn. You might be thinking, wait, corn? That's a staple. Yes, it is. It's affordable, tasty, and shows up in everything from summer barbecues to canned soups. But here's the problem. Corn is one of the hardest vegetables for our bodies to break down. It's high in cellulose, a tough plant fiber our bodies simply can't digest, especially not as efficiently after 60. Have you ever noticed that corn seems to come out the same way it went in? That's not just a joke. It's actually a sign that your body isn't absorbing much from it. Beyond that, a lot of corn today is genetically modified and may contain pesticide residues that can irritate the gut lining and cause inflammation over time. And inflammation is one of the root causes of many age-related issues: joint pain, fatigue, memory problems. So if you're reaching for corn often, whether it's popcorn, corn on the cob, or cornmeal, it might be time to look for healthier alternatives that are gentler on your body. Sweet potatoes or carrots, when cooked, can give you that same sweet, satisfying taste without the digestive issues. It's not about deprivation, it's about choosing foods that love you back. Now let's touch on a vegetable that almost sounds too innocent to be dangerous: eggplant. It looks harmless. It's got that rich purple color, it soaks up flavor beautifully in dishes, and it's a favorite in many cuisines around the world. But what many people don't realize is that eggplant belongs to a group of vegetables called nightshades. Nightshades, which also include tomatoes, peppers, and white potatoes, contain a compound called solanine. And solanine can be a real troublemaker for people with arthritis or joint issues. It can trigger inflammation in sensitive individuals, leading to stiffness, pain, or swelling in the joints. If you've ever had a dish with eggplant and noticed your knees or fingers feel a little more achy the next day, that might not be a coincidence. Again, this doesn't mean you have to cut it out forever. Some people are more sensitive than others. But if joint pain is something you deal with, especially in the mornings or after certain meals, it's worth paying attention to how your body reacts to eggplant and its nightshade cousins. Sometimes, Removing just one or two of these from your regular diet can bring surprising relief. Our bodies are incredibly smart, but they also rely on us to listen. Every little ache, every little signal, it's information. And the more we tune in, the better we can take care of ourselves. So far, we've covered raw cruciferous vegetables, corn, and eggplant. 3 foods that can have hidden risks for those of us over 60. And the best part is, making adjustments doesn't have to be overwhelming. Just by choosing to steam instead of raw, switching corn for other colorful veggies, or watching how your joints feel after eating nightshades, you're already taking real steps toward feeling better and aging stronger. And really, that's what this is all about. Not fear, not restriction, but empowerment. Knowing what works for your body and giving yourself the gift of feeling your best every day. Now that we've looked at a few of the most common vegetable culprits, let's continue on with the others that might be sneaking into your meals more often than you think. Like beets. I know, this one might come as a surprise. Beets are known for their bright color, earthy flavor, and yes, they do have some heart-healthy benefits. But here's where things get tricky. Beets are also very high in oxalates. Oxalates are naturally occurring compounds found in certain vegetables, and when they build up in the body, they can contribute to kidney stones and joint pain. That's especially important to be aware of after age 60, when our kidneys might not be filtering as efficiently as they used to. If you've ever dealt with kidney stones, you know how incredibly painful they can be. And if you haven't, trust me, it's not something you want to experience, especially not later in life. Even small amounts of oxalates, eaten regularly, can slowly accumulate and cause trouble over time. And beets aren't the only offenders. Spinach, Swiss chard, and rhubarb are in the same high oxalate category. Now, you don't have to swear off these vegetables forever. But if you're already prone to kidney issues or are taking medications that affect kidney function, it's worth having a conversation with your doctor about your oxalate intake. You can also reduce oxalates by cooking these veggies instead of eating them raw, and by pairing them with calcium-rich foods like cheese or yogurt, which can help block oxalate absorption in the gut. These little tweaks can make a big difference. Moving along, let's talk about canned vegetables, particularly canned green beans and canned peas. On the surface, they seem harmless. After all, they're vegetables, and they've been a staple in pantries for decades. But the problem isn't so much the vegetables themselves, it's what they're packed with. Many canned vegetables are loaded with added sodium and preservatives to help them stay shelf-stable for years. And that added sodium can be a real danger zone for older adults. As we age, our risk for high blood pressure, heart disease, and stroke increases. And consuming too much sodium, especially from hidden sources like canned goods, can silently push those risks even higher. It's not just about what you sprinkle on your food, it's about what's already inside the food you buy. A single serving of canned green beans, for example, can contain up to 300 to 400 milligrams of sodium. And most people eat more than just one serving. Too much sodium can cause fluid retention, making your feet or ankles swell. It can also strain the heart, making it work harder than it should. If you've ever felt bloated or heavy after a meal that included canned veggies, that's not your imagination. The good news is, you can still enjoy the convenience of canned foods. Just look for low sodium or no salt added versions. And when in doubt, give them a rinse under cold water before cooking to wash away some of that excess salt. And while we're on the topic of inflammation and hidden irritants, there's one more veggie we need to bring into the light. White potatoes. Now, I know this one might hit home. Mashed potatoes, baked potatoes, fries. They're comfort food, pure and simple. But just like eggplant, white potatoes are a nightshade. And for people over 60, they can be a double-edged sword. Here's why. White potatoes not only contain solanine, which can aggravate inflammation, but they're also very high on the glycemic index. That means they can spike your blood sugar quickly, kind of like eating a piece of white bread or candy. And after 60, our bodies often become more sensitive to blood sugar swings. That's because insulin function tends to decline with age, which can lead to higher risks of type 2 diabetes, fatigue, and even weight gain around the belly. If you've noticed an energy crash after a potato-heavy meal, or if you struggle with keeping your blood sugar stable, White potatoes might be part of the reason. Swapping them for sweet potatoes, which have a gentler impact on blood sugar and offer more fiber and vitamins, can be a game changer. They're just as satisfying, and they won't wreak havoc on your energy or inflammation levels the way white potatoes can. Let's pause for a moment here, because I want to emphasize something. This video isn't about scaring you away from vegetables. It's about awareness. It's about knowing your body, honoring the changes that come with aging, and choosing foods that truly support your health, not just in theory but in reality. Sometimes we hang on to certain foods because they're familiar or comforting, but when we take a closer look, we realize they might be contributing to our aches, our energy dips, or even more serious health issues. And the beauty of this stage in life is that we get to make more intentional choices. We're not eating to just fill up anymore. We're eating to feel better, move easier, and stay independent for as long as possible. That's powerful. And it starts with something as simple as looking at what's on our plate. So far, we've uncovered 5 vegetables that could be doing more harm than good in your daily routine. Raw cruciferous vegetables, corn, eggplant, beets, and canned vegetables. Each one might seem innocent, even healthy, but as you now know, they come with hidden risks, especially after 60. Whether it's the impact on your thyroid, your kidneys, your joints, or your blood pressure, these foods deserve a second look. And when you begin to make those small adjustments, steaming instead of raw, choosing fresh over canned, switching white potatoes for sweet, it adds up. You begin to feel lighter, clearer, maybe even a little more energized. That's what this is all about. Giving yourself the best chance to thrive, one meal at a time. Now, let's keep going. There are still a couple more vegetables that might surprise you. They're not as common, but they can be just as risky if you're not careful. Like alfalfa sprouts. These tiny greens often show up on sandwiches and salads, especially in health-conscious meals. At first glance, they look like a perfect superfood, light, crunchy, and full of enzymes. But alfalfa sprouts carry a hidden risk that becomes more serious with age. Unlike fully grown vegetables, sprouts are grown in warm, moist environments. Exactly the kind of place where harmful bacteria like E. coli and Salmonella thrive. For a younger, stronger immune system, the occasional contamination might be no big deal. But for anyone over 60, a foodborne illness can be a serious health threat. What might cause a mild stomach upset in someone younger could lead to hospitalization, or worse, for a senior. The immune system naturally weakens with age, and what used to be just a bad tummy day can quickly spiral into dehydration, infection, or a longer recovery. This is especially true if you have a chronic condition like diabetes, kidney disease, or are taking medications that suppress your immune response. In those cases, it's best to avoid raw sprouts altogether. If you still love that fresh crunch, consider lightly steaming or sautéing your greens instead. You'll still get a nutrient boost without risking your health. Now, let's talk about the last one on our list. Pickled vegetables. Now, don't get me wrong. There's nothing wrong with a little tangy crunch now and then. But many store-bought pickles and pickled vegetables are swimming in salt, preservatives, and even artificial coloring. For older adults, especially those watching their blood pressure or trying to reduce inflammation, this can be a hidden danger. Most people don't think of pickles as a health concern. But the truth is, just a few slices of pickled cucumber can pack hundreds of milligrams of sodium. Multiply that over a week, and it's easy to see how this tiny snack could quietly sabotage your heart health. And let's not forget the acidity. Pickled veggies are soaked in vinegar, which can erode tooth enamel and aggravate acid reflux, 2 issues that become more common as we age. If you love that sour, fermented flavor, a better alternative might be raw fermented foods like sauerkraut or kimchi. Just be sure they're made without added sugars and preservatives. These can actually support gut health when eaten in moderation, giving you the taste without the hidden costs. Now, I know this might sound like a lot. You may be thinking, wait a minute, aren't vegetables supposed to be good for me? And yes, most of them are. But the key is knowing which ones work with your body, and which ones quietly work against it, especially after 60. Our bodies change, and the foods that once felt harmless, or even healthy, may no longer be the best choices for us. That doesn't mean we need to be afraid of food. It just means we need to be more mindful. Small changes really do make a big impact. Swapping canned for fresh, cooking instead of eating raw, rinsing your pickles, or switching white potatoes for sweet. All of these little steps can ease the burden on your digestion, protect your heart, and even reduce chronic pain. And here's the beautiful part. It's never too late to make a change. Your body is always listening. Even if you've been eating some of these vegetables for decades, making a shift now can still bring noticeable improvements. Maybe you'll sleep a little better. Maybe you'll notice less bloating or stiffness. Maybe your energy will start to return, little by little. That's your body thanking you. So, if you're standing in your kitchen tomorrow wondering what to make for dinner, think about the little choices. Maybe you'll reach for fresh, lightly steamed greens instead of a can. Maybe you'll skip the beets in your smoothie just this once. Maybe you'll explore sweet potatoes in place of the usual mashed dish. These aren't sacrifices, they're upgrades, and your future self will thank you. Before we wrap up, let's quickly go over what we've uncovered together. We talked about how raw cruciferous vegetables like kale and broccoli can interfere with thyroid function, especially when eaten in large amounts. We looked at corn and how its sugars and indigestibility can mess with blood sugar and digestion. We explored nightshades like eggplant and white potatoes that can trigger inflammation, especially in the joints. We broke down the risks of high oxalate veggies like beets, which can impact kidney function. We highlighted the dangers hiding in canned vegetables and pickled items, mostly from excess sodium. And we uncovered how raw sprouts, while seemingly healthy, can pose serious risks for anyone with a weakened immune system. 7 common vegetables. All ones that might be sitting in your fridge or pantry right now. And while none of them are bad in the universal sense, they may simply no longer be right for your body at this stage in life. Remember, you're not giving up on vegetables. You're upgrading your relationship with them. Choosing the ones that love you back. The ones that support your strength, mobility, and independence. Because that's the goal, right? To feel as good as we can for as long as we can. To keep walking, laughing, connecting, and living on our terms. If you found this helpful, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Have you ever had a bad reaction to one of these vegetables? Have you made a change that really worked for your body? Your story might help someone else who's watching. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. We've got plenty more tips, insights, and empowering conversations ahead, all focused on helping you thrive after 60. Because this chapter of life isn't about slowing down, it's about living smarter, feeling stronger, and enjoying every moment with wisdom on your side. Here's to your health, your strength, and the joy of feeling good in your body. No matter your age. You've got this.